Space whales? Nope, rather deal with devils. Chapter 45, Fan Fiction by Azazyel. Like watching an inevitable train wreck, it was beyond soul-capturing to watch the Nakano siblings muttering about how far they wandered. Their sister Nino fell into depravity to form a magical bond with me. But eventually, seeing Nino going atomic red and knowing she was probably going to lash out in typical tsundere fashion, I decided to speak up before MT Nino fucking exploded. It wasn't. That's bad. I spoke up and, getting their attention, I continued. The contract requires 3 things at its base: 1 physical contact, 2 an exchange of bodily fluids while in contact, and lastly, you accepting the bond that forms out of it. Ichika, the one with the shorter pink hair, loudly took a breath as she laid a hand on her breast in relief. Just a kiss, right? She asked in clarification, and I nodded with the girls still looking flushed, although much more accepting of this. I added on. I know it's not exactly the easiest of things, but a simpler contract like this would be for the best. And I imagine you girls wouldn't want a tighter, more powerful contract either. I finished with a wry smile as the girls knew exactly what I meant, but they seemingly all shoved the thought to the side. With Miku standing up and saying in her more soft-spoken tone, I am willing to make the contract then. Can we just do it in another room, though? She asked, looking at her fellow sisters shyly. But before I could answer, the longer red-haired one, Itsuki, who seemed the most curvy of them all, even if ever so slightly, held up a hand as she said firmly, No Miku. What if he takes further advantage of you? I coughed and then cut her down verbally by simply stating, You really want to see your sister have her first kiss? And what about you, do you want your sisters seeing your first kiss? And that was the clincher as Nino and Yatsuba quickly covered Itsuki's mouth with Ichika laughing awkwardly and giving Miku a push in the back towards me as she said, Yeah, ha ha ha. I don't want my fumbling first kiss to be seen either, like what if we hit our noses or something. She finished with a shudder, and the other 2 girls who stopped Itsuki's complaining firmly nodded. Even though Nino already had made the contract and was the instigator for any lewd and licentious actions upon my lap. I held out a hand to Miku, and I realized that we were literally doing 7 minutes in heaven as Miku pulled me into the room's walk-in closet, and with the door closed and the vampire turning off the light, I heard her whisper. Just take it slow, please. It wasn't difficult to see Miku as her eyes glowed with a soft wine-red glow as I decided to make the best of this opportunity, and using a fingernail enhanced with some mana, I cut my lower lip slightly. And the scent of my blood, humming with mana, made Miku's eyes glow in response to sensing the spilled blood. Softly, I pulled the quintuplet into my arms, and as her curvy body molded against my body, I gently cupped her face with my hands, and I felt her go on her tippy toes to match my lowering face as my lips finally met her own. And as my blood-tinged lips met Miku's, I heard a soft, sweet moan escape from her with her hands going around my neck and head as she pulled me closer, and I response let go of her face to pick her up around her soft bottom with her legs instinctively snapping around my waist as we started making out in earnest. Her tongue all but scrubbed my mouth in a hungry search for my magically rich blood, even as I formed the soul contract between us. Granted, it wasn't a full contract that would come from touching upon her very soul via her womb through fucking and using my seal of Solomon to its fullest extent. But the transfer of blood and her honest acceptance of my place as her master made the contract strong enough. Whereas Nino was all but putty in my hands and a pillow princess who, in passion, would bear all she had to her partner in hopes of bringing us both joy. Miku was a hungry lover as her desire to form the connection drove her to all but grind on my waist as she broke our kiss to suck on my neck needily with her teeth, just almost teasing at piercing my skin as the contract settled in like a velvet rope around her soul, binding her to me. Go ahead, Miku. Take a drink. I whispered into her ears as I took my own price at letting her suck my blood by playing with her nice ass as her teeth finally broke the flesh of my neck and shoulder with her drinking fully. That's a good girl. I soothed her as I pushed her back into a wall with a soft thumb to help support her while she moaned into my neck at drinking my mana-rich blood. Mana's rich blood, mind you, that was literally perfectly tasting for her preferences and the most nutritious kind, mind you, due to our now soul connection. Thank you. She whispered, obviously blood/cum drunk off the overwhelming sensations running through her, and I gently helped her down to her feet and as we came out of the closet. The girls looked at us with utterly flushed expressions as they looked at Miku, who was literally floating off the ground, how stuffed with mana she was. And Ichika had a good point for what Miku looked like as she pointed out. Yeah. I don't want you four looking at me in the process of him giving me a face like that. I smiled wryly and gave Ichika a look as I said. So are you volunteering to go next? I asked almost teasingly with her taking a breath to control her nerves as she stepped forward and leaned in to look at me with her head tilted to the side. Yup. Do your best or worse then. I liked her candor and determination, and seeing Yotsuba and Itsuki still embarrassed about it, I allowed them to remain silent as I gently pulled Ichika into the closet as well, with her actually flipping the lights on, making me raise an eyebrow as I closed the closet door behind us. She softly whispered. Alright, big boy. Show me what you got. I silently pulled open the cut in my lip and knowing Ichika a bit I knew she needed, and wanted a firm hand. I held her chin with a hand while my other hand greedily pulled her form into mine as my blood-tinged lips once again met the lips of a needy vampire, and the process went much the same except our petting got a bit heavier compared to Miku, with her giving me a bit of a thigh job while I played with her large breasts that all the siblings shared.